Hello my friends, welcome to Painting with Harold, and let me catch you up on the latest. What you're looking at here is a canvas that obviously is painted black, covered in thin even coated liquid clear. I've got phthalo blue, Prussian blue, and black up here. I've got phthalo blue right across here, Prussian blue right across here, and I left the bottom black. Now, yesterday, I had this painted with clouds and a moon, and I've been noticing that in some of the videos, there's a shadow being cast, and I can't get my lighting right. So I had the right idea today that I was going to build something behind the camera here to block this overhead light to keep from casting down and creating this shadow. Well, I set my easel in the floor to get it off the desk because I had to kind of work in this area, and while the easel was in the floor with the painting on it, I accidentally bumped it over and it fell face first, and it messed all the clouds up because they were still wet. So basically I took a paper towel and just rubbed over it. Then I took my brush and I just went back over it and I said, I'll start over. So I'm at that point now to where I feel like this painting is almost the painting that's not supposed to be. But I am determined that this painting is not going to beat me. So I am fixing to start again, and hopefully I'm going to simplify the sky a lot just to speed things along, and that way we can get into the wave and get this painting done, because this one is trying to fight me and it's not going to win. We're going to get this painting done and we're going to be happy about it. So with that said, I got my 1-inch brush going right into my white again, and I'm going to come right up here and I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing. I'm going to start out with a little bright spot in the sky and start with my little X strokes, just working out. And this is no different than anything else that I've said along the way about not using much paint and all that good stuff. So but we're gonna make it, because that's what we do here. We survive. So we're not going to let a painting frustrate us to the point of quitting on it and doing something else. Because I got people that want to know how to paint waves, and we're going to make it happen. One way or another, we're going to make it happen. Alright, same thing as the last time. If you watched that video, just going to start working out with the white, and the further away we get, of course, the darker it gets away from the moon. And I have got a couple brushes here, so I'll instead of just washing them every time, I'll just swap brushes, pause the video, do one washing, and that way it catches us back up, and we don't have to spend a whole lot of time with me washing brushes, because I'm pretty sure nobody cares about watching me wash brushes. Now, if I had a way to beat the devil out of them that you could see it sling paint everywhere, y'all probably be interested in that, but I don't. So just go ahead and work this white all the way out, get this area dark over here, just like so. I'm going to take my knife and come up here and get some of this white that's built up. Get it off the canvas. That way it don't clog nothing up. Like that. Kind of what we're looking for. Then I'm going to get a little white paint on my finger. I'll come up here. And I'll put in a moon. Just making a little circle. Like so. Then I'm going to take a 2-inch brush and I'm going to come up here and start just lightly blending, real light. I'm going to blend right across the moon, set it down into the paint. And then blend all the color back here. And then real lightly just blend across the whole sky. Just like so. Just like so. Alright, then that kind of takes your moon and sets the color back down into the canvas. So you can take just a little bit more paint, a little bit of white. You don't have to have as much as you did last time. And then come back up and just put your moon right back in. Just like so. And then you can just lightly blend over it, real lightly, just to kind of set it back down in the paint. That's all you gotta do. I got a little hair right there. Just trying to mess things up. So I may have to blend it down and put it back in one more time. I don't know what is going on up here. Getting all these little. I may have got some stuff off the floor still on it, just in a couple places. I thought I had everything off. I couldn't wipe it with thinner. We know what that would have done. So I just took a dry paper towel and just kind of dabbed it in places and tried to just get it as clean as I could without ruining it. Alright. So from here, I will pause and clean brushes and I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. And I have picked up a number 6-inch fan brush. And I am going to put some white paint on it, load it up. About like that on both sides. And these are just going to be simplified clouds now that we've had all this problem. So I'm just going to come up here in the sky and just kind of let this fan brush do what it wants to do up here. Just let it dance across the sky. Then I'll come back and load it up again. Then I'll just come back up here and do the same thing again. Then I'll do the same thing one more time right in here. Just let it dance across the sky and do whatever it wants to do. We're gonna keep it simple. Since this painting wants to be such a problem child, and we are determined not to let it be, we'll just kind of show it who's boss. So, alright, now, with that done, I will pick up a 1-inch brush and I'll come at the top of these clouds and I will just blend out the top of these. And you know the reason I'm doing the top is because the bottom side's closer to the light source. And then on this one, I'm not gonna blend either one, this one or that one. And then on this one, I'll come along here and just kind of blend out the bottom a little, because we're gonna come in and re-whiten them up. All right, knock some of the paint out of this brush. Then I'll come along here and just fluff him up. And remember, we're gonna come back and add a little white. We're just not gonna spend a lot of time building them up tonight. I'll try to get everything done as quick as I can to get to that wave, because this video is supposed to be the wave. And it ain't, so. Alright. We'll come over here and just kind of blend him out a little. Alright. Then I'm going to pick up a filbert brush and I'm going to come along the top up here of this little one here on the bottom. I'm just going to add some white to him on that outer edge, because we're going to need some light to kind of let him glow a little bit where that moonlight's hitting him. That almost looks like one of the waves, don't it? Oh my goodness. Alright. And we'll just add him a little bit of body down in here. Just as long as you keep the brightest white on the edges, I know that by now. And then just kind of just work it away as it gets further away from the light. Just let it blend off on into the universe back there. That's all we want it to do. Alright, clean that out a little bit, pick up some more white. We'll come up here on the top of this one and just kind of brighten the outside edge of it up. Let that sun light it up, and we'll just start working it back. The further it goes back, away from the light, the darker it's going to get. Just like so. And we'll just let it disappear into the universe. We'll pick us up a little more. And over here we'll do the same thing. We'll just put a little white in it to light it up and let it go. Now this one up here at the top, it's going to take a little bit more around these outer edges here. And we'll add a little inside, like so. Make it look like it's lit up pretty good along here. And we'll do the same with it. We'll just let him pick up some light here and there and disappear on into nothing. It's supposed to be like a black hole back there or something, I heard. That's what they say. So that may be where these clouds are going. Alright, we got them lit up pretty good right there. So now I'm gonna grab my little bunny brush here. And I'm just gonna sweep across real gentle. Real gentle. I'm gonna try my best not to mess them up too bad. I just want to push them down into the painting. That's all I want to do. Kind of give them that fluffing up pull, and just lightly brush away the backside. Now this is a very, very light touch right here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it is a super light touch. And it scares me every time I do it. And I know it's a light touch. But God gifted me some pretty big hands. And sometimes they have a mind of their own. And they don't know what light means. They'll get heavy. And when they do that, I'll mess something up quick. Alright, we'll do the same to this little fella here. We'll just kind of sit him down in the light a little bit, into the night sky. Let him enjoy that moon bath he's getting. And we'll come over here and we'll lightly play with this one. And just let it do the same thing. And just very lightly blend it away. We want to make sure we keep us a bright spot out here on these edges where we know the sunlight's going to hit them. I mean the moonlight, because if not, they're just not going to look right. And we want this night sky to really look good in the painting, because it's kind of one of your main focal points. Once you leave that wave, really all you're left with is the sky. So, you know, I want to kind of fade this one down toward the horizon, real gentle, like it's just floating right above the ocean out here. Alright, that don't look bad at all. Let me get some more brushes clean again, and I think we're ready to start a wave. Alright, got the brushes cleaned again, and now I'm going to pick up my little script liner brush, as you can see here. Then I'm going to go over here and put just a little bit of thinner on it, very little bit, because it does not have a good reaction if you get a lot of thinner up here on this liquid clear. And I'm going to come over here and pull it through the white just a little bit and get just a little bit of white out on that tip. You can see it right there. And I want to come over here under my moon and start up here at my horizon. And I want to put me in a couple little bright little marks in here to kind of make them look like distant waves that would have a little shine to the top of them, because they're getting hit by this moonlight pretty good over here. Just alright, the stroke I'm making with that is say this is the canvas, is I'm just coming in there and just doing a little, just a very little up, like across and up and back down, just kind of like a little wave shape almost. Nothing real fancy. But when you're doing these, just make sure that if you're gonna put them up here, just make sure that the brighter ones are directly under your moonlight here, because that's where they're gonna get the most light at. And then out away from it, you know, if you put some in, just kind of keep them darker. That's all you got to do. And these don't need a lot of detail because they're far away. They're way back in the water. And you don't really need to do very many of these for them to be effective. I mean, just a couple here and there. Like I said, just let these over here be your dark ones, because they're gonna pick up that blue that's under there. So just a little bit, but we just want these in here to be brighter. All right, and that's all I'm gonna put in there for now. If I need to come back and do something later, I will, but we'll see. Alright, then I'm going to take my clean dry 1-inch brush, if you can see it in the camera. There it is. And then I'm just going to lightly, very lightly, pull across all this and just kind of set them right down into the paint. Alright, and they're going to pick up that phthalo blue that I put up there. Now see how it kind of faded them out a little, which is good. I mean, that's not a bad thing, because we can come back over here now and we can get us just a little bit more white. And right under these, we can just kind of touch along the top in little sporadic motions and just let it touch some of it. You don't have to touch all of it. Just give it that little look like it's waves way off in the distance. And this again is a very, very delicate little touch here. And that's why you only want to paint out on the very tip of your script liner, because that's all you're painting with, is just the tip. And this thing's like, it's like pulling a needle across there. I got it so sharp out on the end. And that's what you want. So you can hit just the high spots. These over here don't need a lot of light on them. In fact, you don't want a lot of light on them. You just want this little area right here under your moonlight to be lit up a little. And as you go across it, it's going to pick some of that blue up. Now I am not using thinner right now. I'm just taking this script liner over there and I'm just rolling it around in that white and just getting, I mean, it's very, very little paint. You can see it's very little. And then I'm just coming back up here and just touching this little light blue line that it left us. And just like that. Now we have a little, pretty bright little small waves out there that are way back in the distance. I mean way back in the distance. Alright, I'm through with the script liner for now. And I will go over here now and I'll pick up my filbert brush. And on that filbert brush I want to put just a little bit of white out on the tip of it. And this white here has a little of the blue already mixed in it. I mean, it's contaminated blue. It's not like it's mixed together, but it's not much. In fact, I'm just gonna I'm gonna pull my filbert brush across my neck in here and just pull some of that off even. All right. Now to do our wave, make sure you can see this. I'm gonna come over here, and I'll come about right here. Alright. We got to come up at an angle across here, just like so. And we'll get over here. We want to come up and back down, and then off the canvas over there, just like that. Just up and then back off the canvas, just like that. Now, our water is churning back here and coming this way, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And when it gets right here, right in here, it's going to fall over toward the beach. I always say it's going to reach for the beach. Right in here. So well, maybe not that big. We don't want it that big. Let's back it down some. We'll come up here and we'll bring it down like this across there. Then we'll bring this over here. Let me get just a little bit more of this color. We'll bring this in, and we'll let this part reach for the beach. Just like that. There we go. Now, while it's doing that, this part is going to continue on over, headed toward that beach, and so is this behind it back here. All of this is going to want to come over too, because all of it's got to go that same direction. Now this is all rough. I mean, none of it's complete. So at this point, we're not too concerned with a whole lot of attention to detail. We're just setting things up. Or that's all I'm doing. I'm just setting things up. Just make sure all your motions are headed toward that beach. You don't want them to come like a waterfall. Is basically what I'm saying. All right. Now over here, like you're gonna have all your. Let's say that when it hits out here, you're gonna have all your water splashing over here. It's just gonna, boosh, and it's just gonna get carried away, and all of this is. Let's just rough sketch it in, because that's basically what it's going to do. It's going to crash, because this water's already already hit, so it's it's doing this thing over there. Right. I'm gonna knock some of this color out of the brush just to get it clean again. We can do this part here with the filbert. Now you don't have to use the filbert for everything I'm using one for. If you prefer using a fan brush on some of this, I completely understand, and that is your preference. But I'm just using this filbert, and I'm just picking up very little color when I do. It's very little color. Alright, now, over here, where this wave's coming this way, this water is churning. But now this water is also making a tunnel in here. If you can follow me on what I'm saying. So with it doing that, you're gonna have this top part right here. This is like your leading edge. That water's gonna come around, and it's gonna start coming in and falling down like so. Because you got this whole embodiment right here is all water. So this is going to start falling this way. And then the further you go back, all this water is going to start following that same little motion there. But then the further you get back, the flatter it gets. It's going to start laying down. Like, it's not going to, all of it's not going to be real big and stand up. It's going to lay down back here. And it's real important that you get this direction of the water right. Because if it's wrong, just about your whole wave's gonna be wrong. But then once you start laying it down back here, it starts. See how that's, because you got to keep in mind that when your water's coming down this way and it's done fell over here, this part hadn't fell yet. This part is curving and it's coming this way. So it's going to guff all this water, or this water's pretty much going to disappear when it falls over. So you just want to have this. You just want to have this to where it's basically getting ready to do that. And just, I mean, you know that's what's going to happen. I mean, you've seen it happen in a wave before. But then it gets out here to where it's just almost flat water again, waiting for its chance to do what waves do. All the way out to here, you know, all of this is going to be laying down real flat like. And then in here, you're just going to have that leading edge right here, and then it's going to come down, and of course we're going to end up having to make all of this a lot sharper and give it that water look once we get that involved or that far, because a lot of this can serve as our shadow when it then we can come back here and put in a few more waves now that we see where everything's at. Just kind of go ahead and let this fall on down, because that's what it's doing. All right, I'll pause this till they get done. All right, they seem to quieten down a little bit, so we'll get back at it here. All right, now one of the things I want to do now is I'm going to come in here and clean this top edge up, because up here it's going to be shadow. So I want to pull, I want this to be a lot cleaner, so I'm going to come in here where this line is, and I'm just going to kind of make a little circle, make that line not as big up here, and I want to pull this water down at the angle it's going to be, and pull it out a little further, because it's going to come this way a little bit, just down. All right, come around this, and then come in here and kind of blend this out a little bit, because all of this is going to require having a shadow here in a few minutes. But at the same time, we don't want it to be real thick up here, because I mean it just don't have to be. All right, I'm going to pull this down. Now you barely probably can see this on the camera, how this water's pulling out of here, and that's perfectly fine for now. But if you're painting this at home, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see the marks that you're leaving when you're doing this. But this water's just coming down, and we'll say there's a beach here. There's not much in one, but I mean, we'll use our imagination. We could have come up with this a little higher, or I could have. So if you're painting it at home and you decide you want yours to be hitting a beach, well, I mean, I just basically showed you how to make it. So all you got to do is move everything up a little. It's easy to do. Just move this line up. All right, I'll come in here and start pulling some of this down, because in here's where our eye's going to be, and that eye's going to come back. Since that moon's hitting it some, that moon's going to transition, the eye's going to transition over into here a little bit, and probably come down at a little angle across here to look like it's coming through maybe the top of that wave. It may not have much of an eye, but it'll have some. Just don't forget that out here your wave is laying down as it gets further. The further it goes back, the more it's going to lay down and come onto the beach, just like so. All this water out here is going to it's going to follow into this. Is all it's going to do. Just like that. And that's our wave. Our formation of the wave anyway. But now we'll come in here and put us a line across here. Probably somewhere around right in here. To grab some of this water. Because all this water is just feedback, you know. Right, then our main part's going to come over. It's going to come to about right there, and it's going to make a straight line back that way. All this is going to keep coming over. So we want this part to be, all of this is going to be our leading edge. So all of this can be part of that that's pulling over. And this has to come over. Like I said, it's just reach for the beach. Just remember that. This water's it's just reaching for the beach. That's all it's trying to do. And then it, you know, like I said, it just starts splashing. Because that's just what it does. And we'll have us a line separating all of this here in a minute, to make it look like it just kind of pulled away from it. Alright, now, I'm going to put this filbert up for a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and wash it though, because I know I'm going to use it again. We pretty much got our shadow color in just by making that with the filbert. So now I'm going to pick up a number 3 fan brush, just a regular number 3, and I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to touch the tip of it down into the white paint, and then I'm going to pull it flat. Now if it picks up a little blue right here, it's not the end of the world, because I mean, if you can make your water not be solid white, it's better. All right, now I'm gonna come right up above this where this is turning, and I don't want to start up here on the very tip top, but I'll come right in here, and I just want to make my edge come around like we know it's going to do, just like so. And we know that this is going to turn and come this way, because that's the leading edge of our wave. Now if you're good enough that you can do that right there with a script liner, you can draw that leading edge line in, and I could do it, but I just have to really take my time, and this ain't one of them kind of videos. So, but you can make that thing look, I mean, you can make these look just as real as you want to. Alright, now up here at the top, I'm just going to follow my line on around for now. And I'm just going to give this back line here, I'm going to bring it up above that little area, and then the further it comes back, we're just going to let it kind of fade away into the blue a little. I mean, we still want it to be noticeable, but since it is leaving the light back here, it don't have to be as prominent as the rest of it. Now that light's shining pretty good right through here, but if you can imagine, if that light's shining through, the top of this is really going to be the one that, you know, gets the majority of the light, like right in here. You know, that's where the majority of your light's going to be, and you just achieve that just by tapping it a little bit, and it gives it that kind of wind-swept look, like the wind's just kind of blowing on it. But I just feel like that's where the majority of your white's going to really show up, is out here on the top. And you can kind of mix it in with that blue a little and get that look, that watery, splashing kind of look. And then as you come down, now I'm working with just the corner of the sand brush now, and then as you come down, it can catch a few rays of that sunlight right out in there, and you can still see your shadow that way. You want to be able to see your shadow, because where that water's turning back at, it's let me see, it's creating shadow under there. All of this is dark because, you know, you got this dark wave coming over, so you got to keep that in mind. Now, as far as, I'm gonna get just a little bit of paint here, don't want much. As far as where this water's coming over, now we may mess our little shadow up right here, but we'll fix it. Where this water's coming over, you know, like I said a while ago, this water's coming over and it's reaching for that beach over there. It's trying to make it to that beach. That's all it's wanting to do. In fact, it can come up just a little bit. We'll redo it right here while we're here. We'll just come up here. That way it acts like it's got a little more water to pull out of. Because it kind of needs to be level across here a little bit to make it look like it's really part of it. But just lightly pull us over for now. And we'll come back in here in just a second and we'll add some color to some of this, because we need a little dark under here where we're gonna be working at. And then we can come back and clean all this line up to make everything clean in here again. And make everything look like it's supposed to. Right now we're just trying to get all our directions right. That's our main focus right now. Making sure we got all that right. And we can come back in here with our splashes and all that again. We can do all of this as we need to. But you can imagine this water over here is further down because it's already splashing back here. So we'll stop our leading edge about right there. So this water's going to be a little further down. And that makes that wave pretty big, but we can clean all this up, like I said. That's not a problem. In fact, we're going to have to. But we'll get it. Just make sure it's all going in the right direction. And to me, that looks pretty good. Alright, now, I'm going to clean that fan brush. And get it good and dry. I'll come back up here. And I'll touch this corner in the white again. Just a corner again. And I'll come back up here and put this little line back in. Because we got to have that. Alright, now this is our edge right here that has not fell into the water yet. Just like that. But now we know all of that has. So now's when we want to, I'll really drop that in the thinner. We're going to pick our filbert back up now. And now I'm going to pick up some Prussian blue. And I don't have to have a lot, just a little. And I'm going to say that water fell over, and I'm going to say it's splashing. And it's coming up here. Hitting pretty hard. Like so. And it don't matter if it goes over some of this. like that. And then I'll bring some of this color into here because we want this color to be darker. So I'm just gonna lightly rub it right in here. In fact, I'll rub some of it, some of the color, just like so. And then I'll tap the Prussian blue back over, like that. We'll even let some of this come up above the horizon back here. Just a little of it. Just that way it made a heck of a splash. Alright, now we know that our eye is going to come in here, and it's probably going to be probably about right in here. If I had to guess, I'd say about right in there. And that eye's going to have to, it's going to come back a little bit, probably, yeah, probably about right in there somewhere. And we want this color to be dark out here. Because, you know, we gotta come back and work on all this. Alright, so we want our water coming out. Let's say it's already hit back here. We want it to come out of here at an angle across here. About like so. We want this leading edge to come out and disappear kind of under the... Alright. We're getting a pretty good layout of it going on here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and clean this fabric brush one more time. I'm going to come up here and get me just a little of the clean white. Don't need much at all. Just a little. We want to come in here and we want to just start touching it around. Just ever so lightly. Just come in here and touch it around and give yourself kind of an egg shape. You know, give it like a, back here you want it a little bigger, and just let it kind of taper around right here. Just give yourself kind of a little egg shape. That's all you're looking for. And then come out the egg and bring some of this light color this way. And just let it kind of fade on off. And just come in here and just ever so lightly touch it. Because this color is gonna fade away into your water motion. Once it all gets blended in. This will be darker, but your eye's gonna stay lighter. See how I was doing that? See how the eye staying lighter right there? Well, now this is not the eye. This is us working on it. We're gonna come in and put the actual eye here in a minute. You can see all that water back there, because it ain't going nowhere. It's still there. That water has not disappeared. It's still right where right where it started out being. Then you want to come up here and start pulling this color back down. Now you can start to see, you can start right here seeing the wave is starting to take its shape. See how it stays darker under there? Because all of this water, all that water is still there. I mean, it didn't go anywhere. So it's just coming down here and going toward the beach water that's already in here. That's all it's doing. In fact, it's going to come over here under the, the splash is not correct, so there'll actually be water all out in here in front of it. So, but all this we can clean up, that's the thing. And I'm basically just roughing all this in to where you'll see, because you don't want to just come up here and put a big bright circle. I mean, this light has to transition in here. It has to look like it belongs. So you may have to, you're gonna have to. Ain't no may have to it. You're just gonna have to just keep your strokes in the direction they need to be, and just work that light in slowly, and that way everything is all going in the right direction. Because a lot of people want to make this water turn, but this water is actually already turning. It's just pulling out from under here, so it just comes up and pulls right out. That's why this side is important to stay flat. And then all that eye's doing, when we get back to it, is this just showing the light from the moon. It don't have a job to do. It's just there. It's just showing through that water. Alright. Let me pause this for a second. I'm going to run upstairs. I'll be right back. Alright. I'm back. And I got my filbert brush again. And I'm going to pick up just a little bit of white. And it's got a little blue in it, but not much. Just a very little bit. I don't got much paint on here, because this is another one of them drafting moments. Now, we're going to have water that's coming down. And that water is going to be, you can imagine in your mind, you got all this water coming in, and you got all this splashing over here. Well, that water's going to come across here, and it's going to come out somewhere under here, and it's going to, and we don't want to make it straight. We want to have some kind of bends in it across here. But it's just going to come across here, like so. And it's gonna follow your angles of coming back up into the wave. And I'm not sure that this is the right angles yet. This is all rough. We'll fix all this here in a minute. We just want to get the outer edge down first. And get us a good stopping point. Because once we get us a decent stopping point here, we can kind of come back and fill it all in. Alright, so we know our eye's going to be in here, in this area. And we know our water's coming down. Alright, you know that water's coming out of here, and it's coming down at this angle. So keep your water down here at that same angle, because that's all this water's doing. It's just coming off and meeting this water down here. And angles are very, very important in this. Very important. Because this water, like I said, once it gets further on back here, it's going to start laying down. It's not near as curving up as this water back here. Now it's going to be eventually, but it's not right now. It's not right now. It's not. So. But I feel like that'll be that. All right, let me calm them down again. Well, maybe they're not too upset. If they get too carried away, I'll stop it. Okay. I'd say that's pretty decent, because you're going to have another line that comes out over here. We're not going to have much of it showing at all, but there'll be foam. We'll make a little foam in there, but there's going to be foam all out in here too. I mean, you know that, where everything splashes. All right, now that we got some kind of idea about how this is, we'll come back with a little more white, and we'll kind of brighten it up a little, just a little. We're going to gradually do all of this. We're not going to come in here and take a big leap at one thing. We just kind of want to work our way into it. That way we don't make no major mistakes here. Because if we can avoid them, right now we want to. And by doing this a little at a time, we can keep our angles right. Because this water's going to have to look like it's at the right perspective. It's like we're standing back over here to the left looking at this wave. It's not coming at us head on. And basically what we're doing is we're trying to imitate, say for instance, we had a camera with us this day and we snapped a photo at this very moment in time. What did we catch on that photo? You know, what did our camera see when it caught this picture? And that's basically what we're recreating, is our viewpoint of that day. And from this angle, this is, you know, everything's got to look like it's supposed to go that angle. You couldn't come in here and put you a straight line and make this part look like it's facing dead at you, and then have this part back here looking like it's going away from you, because that's what it's going to have to look like. It's going to have to look like it kind of just goes away from you. So this part up here is going to come out further than the rest of it. But in order to make it look right, we're just having to take our time and filling it in the way it's supposed to be. Because don't forget, there's going to be a darkness in here to where this tunnel's happening. All right, I think we can pretty much see what's going on now. All right. Okay. Now I'll clean the filter brush one more time. Alright, now we're fixing to have some fun. Alright, I'm going to come over here now. I'm going to pick me up some white. And if it's got a little blue mixed in it, I'm not going to cry about it. Not much though. Very little blue is on my palette right now in the white. There's not much at all. And I don't want much paint on this brush. So what I picked up, I'm going to come over and tap off. And I didn't pick much up to start with. Alright, I'm going to come right up here. And we know this is going to be our brightest spot. And we know this is going to be our eye. So we want to come in and put us a little light color in there. And we got to have that little shadow right there, remember? That little outside line. We got to have that because it's going to be a part of the wave. Alright, then we want to put us a little light down the back, remember? We talked about that earlier. Because we're going to say the moonlight's coming this way too. But we do know that our main focus is going to be right in here. In what we're going to call our eye. And we know that water's coming. We know that this water's coming down. We know that. Even our water back here that we deciding to put in. See how all this water's just falling in place now? Because we already know our direction. And then the further we get away from the light out here, the darker we need it to get. And we're in control of this light, so we put the light where we want it. And we'll just brush some of it off in here to get rid of some of this color before we wash it again. Just like so. It's a very, if you've got up too much white, just knock some of it off your brush. Because you don't want it to be bright everywhere. We're going to have some darkness in here. We've got to have. Because this darkness is going to be real important to us. Because that darkness is going to show this tunnel back in here. Bring the edge on around. This is the part where we get to clean everything up and start getting to that part everybody's excited about. But we're going to build it in gradual. We're not just going to come up there and put us in a bright spot. as bad as we want to, we're not. Because then it's just not gonna look right. Alright. Just like so. Let this color kind of fade out in here. Let that eye be brighter right up there. We'll get us a little more white. And we'll come in here and let it be brighter right in here. And right in here. And all down through here. I'm knocking as much of this paint out over here as I can without having to wash it, because I got some blue in my brush. But I don't care about having a little bit of blue in here, because it keeps us from getting too bright up here. Right, we'll do this again. We'll come around. And remember, I just want to do this gradual. I want to build this white up as slow as I have to, because it's easy to just come in here and throw in a real bright spot and blend it out. That's easy to do, and that's not what we want. We want we want our eye to follow our wave the way it's supposed to, because it's only going to be bright in that one spot, and then it's going to turn into the watercolor. It's going to fade right in with everything else, just like that. Okay. All right, now we will do a little blending right now to see where we're at with this. And we're going to blend it first with a 1-inch brush. We don't have to do our final blending until we know we got everything where we want it. All right, we'll come right in here, and I'm just using just a corner of this 1-inch brush to blend this. Just a corner. Then I'll come along the top up here where we added this little bit, and we'll lightly blend it. And then we want our eye to be shown. Okay. And we'll just take that 1-inch brush and kind of pull this out real lightly. And we'll do it on the top here too. Just pull this all out. And all of this we can come back in here and fix. So don't, if you touch that line a little bit, don't worry about it yet. We can come in here and fix all this. Right now we're just trying to smooth down some of these, all these different colors we got up here, so we don't end up with a real light spot somewhere that we don't need it to be, and a real dark spot somewhere we don't need it to be. Some of that Prussian blue that we got down is coming through, and it's giving this wave that nighttime look, and that's kind of what we've been waiting to happen, because we gotta have dark to show the light. All right, we'll wash our filbert again, and we'll wash our 1-inch again. Get them good and dry. All right, now this time I am going to pick up just clean white. I don't want no blue in it this time. So I pull me out a little pile that's clean. It don't have no other color in it. And I'm gonna come right up here this time. And I'm just gonna start making me a little circle up here. And I already know that my brush is gonna it's gonna pick up some more color. I already know that. It's gonna pick up that color that's under it. And that's perfectly fine right now. Alright, I wanna come across here like so. Make that kind of like that egg shape. But at the same token, I don't want it to be a complete egg. I want it to follow the direction of my water here. I do want it bright, but I want it to fade out of the bright into dark when we get to that point. I don't think that shadow's going to go much further than that. Okay. I'm going to bring a little more white in here, like so. And I'll pick up a little more. And I'll bring some of it down and around. At this point, I'm just pulling the white in the direction of my water. That's all I'm doing at this point. And if it's not correct, I'll come back up here and straighten it all up. Because the further out here it goes, this water's just like that water everywhere else. It's going to get darker. And where it gets darker at is actually what creates that eye. So see, all up here, it's going to get darker. And all back in here, it's going to get darker. I know it don't look darker, but it is. Alright, now we're going to pick us up a little of the Prussian blue. And we're going to start adding a little color in here now. I'm going to come, so about right in here. Because what we're doing now is we kind of dry brushing that white so much it's starting to pick up a lot of the black under the canvas. So now we want to start making it look like water in here. We want to bring this blue up in here and give it a. Now we don't want to bring a lot of blue in here, but what we want to do is we want to give this a kind of a water effect now. We want it to look like light's hitting it, but we don't want it solid white. We want it to look like light colored water. Or lighter colored water than it's everywhere else. And you got to be subtle with this blue. You know, you can't just run up here with it and fill in some spots, because it don't work that way. I wish it did, but it don't. Because this is that water's gonna disappear over here, and that's what's gonna leave us that eye. And then all of this is gonna look like blue water up here, and all this gonna come that direction, just like so. And then when it gets down in here, it's going to be darker. All this is going to be darker water down through here. Remember what I said earlier. At some point, we're going to have dark in here to create this tunnel. Well, here it comes. We're creating this tunnel. See it? And we're gonna carry this up a little more. And this is even going to end up darker. But before we do that, we just got a little work we got to do. We got to get some color in here. But we don't want the blue to come in here and take over everything. We want to work it up gradually, just like we're working the white down gradually. That way when we come in here with all our different foams and stuff, we'll have that eye and it'll be brighter, and all of this will be brighter. But if we do it right, it's going to look like water. It's not just going to look like a bright glowing alien eye. Because I have done some waves in the past that I'll come in there and put me a green and yellow eye in there and just leave it be. And then a couple days later I'll get to looking at it and I'll say, well, you know, some of that looks like water, but then some of it just looks like this big alien eye sitting up there, and that don't look right. And it's all because people want to hurry up and get an eye done. That's all it is. You know, but you got to think, if, you know, that eye is, yeah, it's a very important part of the painting, but the most important part of this painting is to make it look like it's all water. I mean, if it don't look like water, then what is it? Want that leading edge out here to be thin as we can get it without killing, because we can come back in there with that fan brush here in a little bit and add that, well, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, now back here, see, our water's going to get darker up here at the top. So, keep your, when you're pulling your line out, just keep that Prussian blue kind of in the middle along here, darker than everywhere else, because that's going to be our tunnel color. That's what's going to show us that we got a tunnel happening in here. But as you know, and I know, once we get further back in here, where this all lays flat, it's not going to have that tunnel look anymore. But we still want it to be kind of dark. Alright, we'll bring some of it out this way, just a little, because we know all this is going to have some foam on it. So we're going to have dark and light and dark and light, or light and dark and light is basically what we're going to end up with down here. But that's fine, because that's what it's got to be. Then back here it just starts laying down. But now see right here how this is lighter blue colored water than everywhere else. If you start coming back over that now with that kind of darker color and pull it down into it, see how it starts blending? And you have to kind of get creative with your brush strokes here. You know, you want to lighten it up. You don't want to come up here and press out a lot of this blue. You want to work it as, you know, as gentle as you can. and just kind of let them colors mix together. And then if you lose some of your brightness up here, this time we'll come back and we'll put it in for the next time. I mean, if this process takes 5 or 6 times to get this right, it's worth it. Y'all trust me. When the final outcome, when we get to the point where we say we're done, I think you'll be pleased with it. Because even over here in the dark area, you know, it's going to have to look like water too. But when we get right in there, it's going to have to really look like dark water, or it's not going to look like it's folded or turning. Alright, now we'll go back to the little bit of the white now. And I still got some blue in my brush. But we'll come back up here and we'll start with this lighter color again. And we'll come back up here and add the lighter color again. Over here and where we think the moon's gonna hit it. And we'll just start real lightly, pulling it down again, just like we've been doing. Just real lightly. And we're just going to let it blend in again to the color that's down here already. And at some point we'll have to start being careful on our line over here. We don't want to keep disappearing it or getting into it. We kind of got it about as thin as we'd want it to be. It don't need to get much thinner than that. Alright. Up here. Start laying it down again. Not like so. Let them two colors just kind of blend together. Not like so. We got some light and some dark going on in here. Oh yeah, that's coming together great. Alright, now I'm going to clean my brush. Get it good and dry. Now I'm going to pick up a little phthalo blue. Phthalo blue is lighter than Prussian blue. Alright, now so I'm going to take a little of the phthalo blue and I'm going to come up here now and I'm going to put a little bit of phthalo blue color in here and I'm going to start lightly pulling it around, and it's just a little bit. I don't have a lot of phthalo blue up here at all. I'm going to start just pulling it at that angle. And I'm staying over here in the light color for now. I don't want to carry this phthalo blue down into the dark area yet. I'm going to get up here on this line. And I want to stay in my right direction. Always keep your color in that right direction. And put this phthalo blue just in the area you think it's going to be the brightest, where your eye's going to be. But follow your water line. Follow your water line. And see that water line just automatically, if you're following it right, it automatically just about forms you. I shouldn't say an egg shape. It's more or less a football shape. But you can see that phthalo blue's kind of just forming a football shape in here where the eye is. See it? Because that water's coming out like that, and it's coming up here at this angle. And that phthalo blue is creating that. It's just staying in that same pattern, just like so. But now we don't want to bring a lot of that phthalo blue out into the wave. We may put a little bit in it later, maybe 1 or 2 spots. And if we do, we'll say that the sun kind of just caught that spot. And I'm pretty sure we won't, but who knows what we're subject to do once we get fired up about it. Alright, now I'm just knocking this paint out of the brush. I'm not cleaning it. And I'm going to come back over here in my white again, clean white again. And I'm not going to pick up a lot because I want this color to be a light baby blue color. And we'll get that color because that's what, we got that little phthalo blue on our brush. And then I'm going to come right back up here and I want to start just kind of pulling it around. Let it right in here where it's going to be the brightest. Let it make its shape, just like so. Because I feel like that's where the transparency is going to be, right in here, where the moonlight's, isn't it? And then I feel like once it gets over here to a certain point, I feel like a lot of that light's going to go away. So we basically ending up with an eye in here. I bet y'all thinking, I didn't know we was going to do no photorealism. Well, this is not photorealism, really. This is just blocking in and kind of building up to it. And now if you want to come in there and put some, bright white paint and blend it out, that's entirely up to you, I want this wave to look as good as we can make it look. Alright, I'm going to come in here this time with just solid white this time. I'm come in here like this. And we'll bring just that white in, because I already know that the blue that's in here is going to tone it down. But I want to bring it back in here, just like so. And I want to very lightly pull it out. Just very lightly. And then just let the colors kind of blend together as they follow that same direction. Just let them blend. But see, it's starting to leave our eye for us. We're not doing anything. We're just moving paint, little at a time. Now I'm going up here with a dry brush this time, and I'm going to start pulling some of this color down, letting that light color stay up there. I'm going to bring it down. And I'm pulling it straight down, but it's not going to stay straight, because I'm going to come back and work it in our angle. but by doing that, it's picking up just a little of that Prussian blue, and it's starting to darken up a little in places. We know it's going to be dark over here. We're just going under this tunnel, because all that's going to be in shade under there, or in shadow. Alright, about like so. Just come up here and give it that pull it needs, because this is where everything's starting to get lighter and darker. See how it's fading out in places and light in other places? To me, that's what gives it that water look when it does that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and clean the brush again. Now that I know exactly how big the eye is going to be, now we can put the eye in. Because now I see it, and we're not going to have too big of an eye. We already know how big it's got to be and everything. So it's time to celebrate. It's just to pick up just a little clean white. Just a little bit. And then when you pick that little bit up, you can bring it over and just tap it off on your napkin a little. Alright. I'm going to come right up here now, because right now I know where it's going to be. I'm just going to tap the color on. Just like so. And see how I'm leaving that little line right there that we talked about earlier? We got to have that little shadow line. And if we kill it right here, we can always come back and put it back in. In fact, I think we will, because we're going to blend in here anyway. Alright, but that's our eye right there. That's the wave. I mean, that's the eye of the wave right here. This is where that light's going to hit it. Right here. That's a little bigger than I wanted it to be, but it's not to the point where we can't work with it. Okay. Now let me show you how I clean it up first. I'm going to pick up just a little phthalo blue on my brush, on my filbert, and I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to give it just one final little cleaning around it with that color. And that way when I come out with my blue again, in the direction I need to, in here, everywhere I touch now is gonna help with that eye, help cleaning it up. Alright, just like so. This is gonna come up like this. Pick this up a little more now. I want it to be a little lighter out here. So we're going to pull this around. Just like so. And that'll help with our transition color. Now when we blend all this out now, it should take on a whole new look this time. Alright, now I've got a little small round brush. It's a little soft round brush. It's just, I call it it's a sable brush. But I'm gonna come right in here and I just want to take it and just lightly, very lightly, I'm making little circles right here. Just very little circle. And I just want to lightly blend this color out along the edges. And I don't want to overblend it. I just want to lightly blend these colors together. And I'm blending them in the direction of the wave here. And I'm going to lightly pull them in the direction of the wave. Just very lightly pulling the color out. Just like so. And I'm doing this very little at a time, very, very light. I mean very light. Come right up here, blend a little of this in. And pull some of that down around with it. Alright, and all along here, we wanted this to be a little lighter up here, like light's hitting it too. And let it kind of transition. Like so. And we'll just kind of blend over everything. Make sure everything's real lightly blended where we don't have no real harsh lines somewhere that don't need to be. Make sure this area stays dark. Keep our right angles coming across here. Just like so. Put it all out a little bit. Just like that now. Alright. We now have an eye in our wave. But if you're not completely happy with that, what we will do is get this little sable brush good and dry. Very dry. Because we can paint with it if we need to. I don't hardly paint with it. I usually use it just to blend. But I'll take and put just a tad bit of white on the end of it. Very, very little. And I'll come back up here and I'll just start in little circles. Just very little circles. And if I see I got too much paint, I'll knock it off over here. But I'm going to be spreading this paint out. That's all I'm going to be doing with it. And like I said, if it's too much, I will knock it out. Right in this spot here, we want it to be kind of bright because that's the initial hit of the moon. And then as it comes down around this way, it can kind of darken down some. And then up here, we want it to kind of just start fading away. About like so. About like that. Just let it gradually work its way in here. Gradually. And see, it don't look like we come up here at one time and just stuck a big bright white spot in our wave just to give us an eye. We kind of took our time and put it in here the way it's supposed to be. And then we'll let this edge here remain with this little light spot. And we'll come in here and pull everything out and around like it's supposed to go now. For one final time, I think. What do y'all think? I think if we keep piddling right there, I think we're going to end up messing it up. I do see one thing that I ain't 100% happy with, and we'll fix it right quick. I'm going to get just a little bit more white. And I want this spot right here to be a little lighter. Right through here. Because I did kind of lose some of that edge right there when I was coming back around. I want that spot to be lit up just a little bit more, because now we can come back in with our edge out here and get it all cleaned up. Put just a tad more white in here just to give it a little glow. I don't want it super duper bright, but I do want it to look like the moon's hitting it. That's the whole purpose of doing it. Make it look like this water has got some transparency to it. I like some. Now it will appear more round than this when we start fixing our outside of our wave again. Alright, can y'all see that on the camera pretty good? How it just kind of glows under that wave. I still think... Alright, let me wash this brush real quick. For some reason, it's just not wanting to... That area right there is not wanting to light up the way it needs to. And I don't want to put a lot of white paint in here and mess something up. But it's got to come to life, or it just ain't gonna look right. I see what's wrong. There's a little bit of dark color right there, and it's toning that white down every time you put something up here. That's exactly what it's doing. So we will take care of that once and for all. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Now we can come in here with a little white and blue and fix our edge out here. Because it's got to have a little light too, but we don't want it to have as much light as our eye. We want these to kind of gradually meet up. Make it look natural. Like that. that little bit of white. Back in now. Just like so. Alright. I think that's all I'm going to do to that. Because if I keep pipping, I'm going to lose it. And I don't want to lose it in there. Because to me that just looks like it's there now. So alright, I'm going to wash with sable brush. Alright, I'm going to run upstairs for a minute, grab me a bite to eat, and I'll be right back. And we should be able to finish it up here shortly. Alright, I'm back, and we are almost at the finish line here. Okay. That wasn't a bad supper. Had leftover pizza from the new pizza place we got here in town. That's pretty good. Alright, I cleaned my brushes when I got back before I started the camera back up. I got my filbert. And what we're going to do now is, you know, we had to have that shadow line in here, right? So I'm going to come back over here now with this filbert. And with real light pressure, I'm just going to come across this color that we put on earlier. Just real light, because you don't want this line to get real big on us, because we want a shadow line, but we don't want a monster one. Alright, I'm just going to follow that on around, just like so, right on into the foam down there, just like so. Alright, I'll knock this out just for a minute. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to pick up my number 3 fan brush. And we'll come over here and we'll put a little more white back on it now. Just a little, don't take much. Then I'm going to come back on top of this shadow line now. And just real lightly, over on this side, just touch it a little. You don't have to be much on this side. Remember, this is in the dark over here, so basically all we're doing is just cleaning up that line. And then come around the top again. And when you get up here at the very top, if you want to put a couple little wind splashes up on it, you can do that. In fact, I think they kind of look pretty decent when you do that. And it still leaves you a little shadow line in there, which we're going to come back and kind of blend it down a little, not much, but you know, a little. Alright, then we want to come back over here and start following our leading edge down. And we want to follow it right on down into our foam, like so. And you can come back and put just a little on top there if you want to, just to kind of give it a, like it's spraying a little water here and there. It don't have to be much. Just a little. Clean all this up. But we still maintained our shadow right there, and you can still see where the eye is. Alright, now I'm going to come over here on our other side. You know, we said we had to have a little dark in here, but what we want to do is come up here with our white too. And we want it to look like it's pull it over toward the beach. Remember, reach for the beach. That's a good way to remember that. Let this water kind of churn around. And this too is just a real light pull. We just want you to see some of it. And that's right behind the wave. You know, if you end up touching your leading edge over here, just come back and, well, I'm pretty sure we will, but when we do, we'll just come back and put the little splash wave back in. But this is just that little bit that you can see there. And just let it pull down like it's going right into the main wave, because that's basically where it's headed. Just like so. Just like that. Alright, then we will come back in here now and just kind of loosely come up here so we can kind of hide some of that, because we don't need all of it seen. And we'll work on that edge just like so. We just want to maintain that little shadow line we got working down there. We want it to stay with us as long as we can keep it. Alright, now right there is where everything starts going ballistic. Now we already got the majority of this doing the splash thing over here, you know, where we came in earlier and put that dark color blue. You know, all of this is what this is doing over here. Alright, we'll bring this light blue in a couple places just to give it a mid-tone. We'll bring it up like that, because this is where everything kind of blowed up, you know, just whoosh, throw water everywhere up here. But we got us a little mid-tone going right there, so let's make it look like it's straight across there. Alright, I'm going to clean this brush, because we may need it again here in a second. Well, I kind of think we are. I know we are. Alright, now I'm going to pick up a 1-inch, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of paint on the corner, and I want to tap it. Just tap that paint right up in the bristles there. And I want to just very lightly come in here and go to just tapping on some white around in this blue, because at this point right here we're going to end up with, you're going to have basically three colors in here. You're going to have the light blue, the darker blue, and now the white. And we want to come right up here and just lightly blend some of these colors together, just lightly. You can leave them where they look all kind of misty and mixed up like this. That's perfectly fine. We don't want a good blend. We just want a real light blend like that. All right, then we'll wash that brush. Now we'll pick up the filbert, come back up here in the white again, and it places like right in here, I want to kind of just touch them and get them good and white, or at least I want them brighter than the blues. I mean, this is going to pick up some blue, and that's perfectly fine. But I still want it lighter than the blue it's going to pick up. If you follow what I'm saying. Just like that. Just touch it around in here. Give this area some white in here because it's going to need it. Just, you know, we don't want to kill all that dark color, because in 3 tones like that, once we get our final blend on it, they're going to look good together. Alright, now where we put the white at on the leading edges, just come back up here and kind of blend some of them out, but leave some of them too. Kind of like you do on a cloud. Well, no, not kinda, exactly. Almost exactly like you do on a cloud. Just leaving some of the white in there. Alright, now just like that, where it comes out and blows up, just real lightly pull up on it. Just like so. And then just real lightly come across, blend some of your color out. Just lightly set it down into the paint. Alright, and you can come up over here and just start blending across the bottom here. And just blend that color as far this way as you can. Let this color come this way. Just don't let it touch that black. I mean, this other edge here. Leave you a little gap in there. If you can see that on the camera, just leave yourself a little gap across here, a little gap of dark, real dark color, and you can pull that across just like this, and then straighten your bottom up of your yeah, you know what I'm saying, the wave. Come back over here and get you a little more white, tapping in the brush same way. And now you can come over here again and tap you on some water now, to really make it look like it's getting carried away up here. Just come back and just lightly tap it in places. Out here you can kind of tap it harder on the outside leading edge, but on the inside here just kind of lightly tap it to just give it a light water mist color. Because see, when we blended it, we pushed that color down in there, so that color's kind of dark down in there now, and it's looking more like shadow, and that's what we wanted. And then just bring this on down like so, not like that. And if you want this to not look quite as uniformed up here, you know, like if you want it to look more wild, just come back up here and just tap you on some more water spots at random, you know, just make them look like they just went kind of crazy. And then just like that, you got a pretty decent little splash right there. Now, if you want to work on this water here and make it look a little different or a little better, come over and pick you up just a little bit of phthalo blue on your fan brush, and you can just kind of weed you a couple little blue spots in, and just smooth it out in some of that white, just to give it that water look, like it's coming right down into everything, like it's supposed to. And leave yourself a little dark in there where it disappears. Just bring that water right on around. And then that just toned it down a little bit. But now you know, with the moon being right where it's at, we're going to have some light hit that. So we'll take just a little bit of white, and we'll come back up on this outer edge here, and we'll let some of that white, just a little of it, at the very top, be brighter. And we'll pull it just ever so lightly into here and let it be a little brighter up at the top. It ain't got to be much, just so it shows the indication that it is. Just like so. Alright, we'll clean this brush real good. Alright, now we know that this water over here is laying flat. So we'll come in here and we grab it. Alright, let's get just a little bit of color. We'll get a little blue and white mixed together. Alright, we know that if this color is coming in over here laying down like this, we know that it's going to be out here, and we know it's going to come off the canvas because it's laying down flat. Then it comes up into the wave here, it shows up, and it's still laying down pretty flat all through here. Running out of color. Alright. But now, at some point right in here, we don't want it to come off the canvas. At some point in here, it's going to get a little taller. Okay? And when it starts doing that, we want to stay on the canvas. Not like so, like right in here. We want to start staying on the canvas and bring that color in like this and down. But now we know back here, you know, we're off the canvas. And we also know that back there we're going to get darker, so we'll pick up just a little bit of the darker blue. And we'll come back and we'll work it in places. We don't want to cover it all up, just, you know, enough to let it look like it's supposed to look. Because at this point, right now, it's time to bring everything together. And that's what we got to do. We got to start bringing it home now. Getting rid of it. Putting our color where it needs to be. Getting our darks back in. Getting our wave shake where it's supposed to be. Like that. Alright, then we will pick us up a little of the color. And then we'll come back up here and get back to work on this spot. Just tap here, don't let your brush slide. Because if it does, you're gonna have slide marks, and that's not what you're looking for here. Just want a few little splashy spots right there. Then up here, get you a little more white, and come down a little more on that shadow up here. And fix that. About like so. Alright, now grab your filbert and come over here in the white color again. And I know you got some blue on your brush, and that's good. Alright, so now we're gonna start over here, and we're gonna put our foam line in. We're gonna stay on the leading edge of our water over here, because we know it come around and went off the canvas over here. And then we probably got another little one about right here to where this water's coming out from under, and it's probably going to come over here about like so, and it'll probably run off the canvas too, probably about like this if I had to guess at it. And it's going to lay down flat too, and it's going to come out about like that, and it'll run off the canvas. Let's get it a little wider right in here. It needs to be in a couple places, a little bit wider, and a little more straight, about like that. And we just want to pull it back just a little bit. Okay. Now we want to get this brush clean. Alright, now I'm going to pick up a little flat brush. Well, first I'm going to clean this line up, because I want this white across here in several places. I need it white in several places because of what we got to do. Alright, we can fix our angle here in just a second. First thing we got to do is get this white down. We got to get that white leading edge. Alright, now I've got just a little small, inexpensive flat brush. And I'm going to come right up here to this white, and I'm going to pull it straight down. Straight down, just like so. All the way across. Just like that. And over here where it got under the moonlight, I want it to be brighter. And if it's not, we'll pick up a little more white and make it. But we want this part here to be brighter over here under the moonlight. Because this is just going to look like reflection, like this water come up and sit on the beach. All the way across. Now I know that's going to be kind of hard to do in everywhere, but make sure it's straight down. just pull it straight down, just like so. Alright. Then we're going to knock a little bit of that paint out. And we want to come across real lightly, right up to our mark up here. And we want to pull it across, just like we do reflections in the water. We want to pull this straight across, just like it's water sitting on top of a beach or something, just like so. And if you have to, pull them back down again until you get that look. Alright, then we can take some of this dark color and get our line back in here that we need, because we gotta have that little line in here that separates everything over here in this water. And we'll pull this back, because this is going to look like water too. Let it run off. And we'll come back and just kind of darken this up some, because we want this water to just come back and meet this, is all we want it to do. And we ain't gonna kill our reflection everywhere, but we will kill some of it. And that's all that happens, you know what I mean? That's just life for us right now. Well, I guess it did kill all of it. We can put it back in a couple places it needs to be. Just pull it straight down like so. As long as it's right in here under this moon, that's about really the only place I care about it. Anywhere else, I don't really care if it shows up or not. I just want it to show up right in there. But I need it straighter than that. I need it to come down like this in order to look like reflection, like so. Or across would be nice. Alright. Then we'll take a little white and we'll clean up this leading edge of the water out here. Just coming back out from under the. Now it'll probably have a little shadow too, but it's not going to be, reflection too, but it's not going to be near as noticeable as this up there is supposed to be. Alright. Now we do know we need this foam to be brighter out here on this edge. We know that. So we got to get that white out here. Now we're going to go to pulling it back, but when we do, we're not going to try and lose it. We're going to try to keep up with it best we can, because we don't want to lose it if we don't have to. We really don't want to lose it. So what I'll do is clean out this brush, and we want to start kind of here at the top and pulling it first. In fact, we don't want to pull none of that bright white if we don't have to. We want it to look like it's part of the water though. We just don't want to get a lot of dark color in it, because if we do, it's gonna wipe it out. So it's just kind of gotta lightly be blended in, and just don't let it get down into the real bright white. Alright, let's come up here and get our angle right now. Because we know it's all laying flat out here. Alright. Now, you know when we do snow on the mountain and we pull that snow up just real lightly? That's what we're fixing to do right here. We're going to come down at this angle, and where we just blended that color out, we're going to pull right back across it in the same angle that we're coming down and lifting off. And just lifting off. And that's going to make it look like that. Everything just blended together across here. And that's what we needed to do. Just like that. But all of this color over here is, like I said, all this is flat. So we just want everything else to maintain that look for now. And it does. We're not really showing a whole lot of movement in different things right now, but we're fixing to start here in just a second. Okay, a little more white here. Come up here and pull this around just a little bit like so. So we can start showing the direction of this water travel now. So it's about, I'm going to say we're at about that point now that we need to start doing that. And if this paint breaks off your brush while you're doing this, it'll just add to that overall effect. So don't fight it, just let it happen. See how that's coming in there, looking like it's part of the water now. But just don't let it get too bright on you up here. No, you don't want it brighter than your eye. But remember, we did want to look